Thanks for stopping and watch this video. My name is Stevie. Today we're going to be making this little wooden sloth out of a 1-inch wooden ball, a 3/4 of an inch dowel, and a 3/16 of an inch dowel. This was a fun one, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. Let's get started. What we need to make the sloth is a 1-inch spherical wooden ball. You can get that at any hobby shop or Amazon. I'll put a link in the description of the video where you can buy some of these. I'm going to use a 3/4 inch dowel, and I'm going to use 1 1/4 inches of this. But it's a 3/4 inch dowel. We're going to use that. And we're also going to be using this 3/16 of an inch dowel. This is going to be used for the arms and the legs. And lastly, we're going to be using some of these little eyelets here. These are made for jewelry, but we're going to use them as the joints, the hinges for the elbows, the knees, the hips. We're going to start with creating a small hole in the center of this dowel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and mark out my best, a little mark right in the center of the dowel. And the reason why we're going to do that is we're going to be drilling a hole in there to put a part of this 3/16 of an inch dowel in here. We're going to use it as a fastener to fasten the body and the head together. So put that marking as close to the center of the dowel as you can. Then we're going to drill a 3/16 of an inch hole. Okay, when we drill this hole, we're not going to want to go too deep. I've got my 3/16 of an inch drill bit here. And remember, this body's only going to be about 1.5 inches deep. So I'm probably going to take this no more than about 1/2 inch. Now that I've got the hole drilled out, I'm going to make a 1.5 inch marking on this dowel so I know how long the body is going to be when I'm taking it to the sander. All right, I've got my marking here. Now what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to shape out this part of the body. This is going to be the neck where this hole is. So I'm going to try and shape it into like a cone shape almost. So let's take it to the sander and see how we do. And by the way, I'm not going to cut this just yet. I'm going to first sand out the neck area, then I'll cut it, and then I will sand out the bottom part. And the reason why is I want to make it easy for myself to, try and work that wood a little bit. So it's going to be a lot easier when I use the full dowel versus a small piece like this is going to be a little bit more difficult. Okay, so I think I've got the first part ready. I like the way it's shaped. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a ball on like that as the head. So I think I'm going to use this as the shape for the top part. I'm going to use a different sander to kind of clean it up a little bit better, take off those rough edges. I'm also going to cut it right here at this 1 1/4 inch mark, and then I'll shape the bottom part as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take it over to the bandsaw. I'm going to cut it right here at this line. Then I'm going to take it back to the sander and shape the bottom part as well. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I think that's the shape I'm going to want here. So the top is curved for the neck. The bottom is more flat, so you can let it sit down flat on something. And when we attach the head, it's going to look something like that. And then we'll attach the arms and the legs. I'm just going to take it to a piece of sandpaper here and try and get it a little bit more smooth before we move on to the next step. There we go, it doesn't look too bad. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole into the head so that I can fasten it onto the body. So I'm just going to take a screw here and I'm going to just poke a hole right in here. And all I'm doing with this is creating a pilot hole so that when I put my drill bit in here, I can easily get it up in there. I also cut a very small piece of the 3/16 dowel that I'm going to use as the fastener. So I'm going to attach them like that. It's going to look like this so far. We still have to add the arms and the legs, but I wanted to put the head in first, not glue it in just yet, but I wanted to put it in first so I can draw out the arms and the legs, at least point out where I want to put them. I think I'll use this as the front. So I'm just going to put a little F here for front so I know. And now I'm going to draw out the arms and the legs. Okay, so if this is the front, this will be the immediate side. I'll put one leg down here at the bottom. Oops, I'll set that head off to the side for now. And let's see, here's one leg. So I'll put the other leg right here. Okay. They look pretty even to me. So one leg here, one leg here. Now I'm going to take my pencil and bring it all the way to the top. And I'll put an arm right around here. Let me see how that's going to look first. Where's the hole? There it is. All right. One arm will go there. So if the arm kind of dangles, I'm going to put it a little bit higher actually. Maybe right around here. Yeah, I think that'll be good. And then for the other side, I'm going to make it about even. Okay, so this is where I'm going to have my arms. This is where I'm going to have my legs. So let me create some little pilot holes so we can drill those out. All right, let's take it to the drill press. All right, I'm using the smallest drill bit I have here. This is a 3/64 of an inch drill bit. I'm going to put a link to some of these in the description of the video, so if you need some, you can use that. This is just a little bit smaller than 1/16 of an inch. So if you have 1/16 of an inch, that might work too, but I'm using a 3/64. All right, I've made my marking for how long I want these arms to be. And because I'm going to be using the same length for arms and legs, I'm going to cut 4 pieces, and then I'm going to cut each of those in half so that I'll have, you know, the upper arm and the lower arm and upper leg and lower leg. So let's get started. Now that I've got these pieces cut out and I've sanded off the rough edges on each one, I'm gonna poke a small hole in the ends of these so that I can drill a small hole and add these little jewelry eyelets here. These jewelry eyelets, like I said before, are going to be used as the hinges that are going to act as knees, elbows, shoulders, and hips. So you're going to want to put the pilot hole as close to the center of these dowels as you can. Don't put one in the bottom of the foot and don't put one in the hand. You're just going to put it where you'd actually have the joints. So you'll have one where the knees are, where the elbows are, and where the shoulders and hips are. All right, now we're going to be adding these jewelry eyelets into the body. These are going to be used as the elbows, the shoulders, knees, and so forth. We're going to use them to create that little hinge. So I'm going to show you how I do this. I cut off a small piece of this jewelry eyelet, so it's about this long. Then I fold it over. I crimp it, and I have a piece that looks, whoops. I have a piece that looks like that so that I can push it into the body, right? So That little crimp there creates a little bit of tension, which helps it get held into the body. So first thing I'm going to do is I've got a little bit of glue that I put over here. I'm going to dip it into the glue and I'm going to push that into the body and make sure that it's the same direction that I have it here. If it's twisted the other way, the arms won't be able to swing back and forth. All right. So I'm going to go through and do all of these real quickly, and then we'll move on to the next step. So I've got this part of the body done. Now I'm going to start with the arms and the legs. I'm about to put this little eyelet into the arms and the legs, but what I wanted to mention was when you are doing the arms and the legs, you want to keep track of where the opening is. So I'm going to keep track of that opening. I'm going to dip it into my glue. I'll push it into the bottom of the leg there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the bottom of that eyelet. And the reason why is because we are going to be attaching another eyelet to it to act as the hinge. And once it's glued in there, it's going to be very difficult to determine, which side opens up. So I'll keep one eyelet open, and then when I create this part, I won't necessarily open up this eyelet, just one, so I know where to attach it. All right, let me finish these up and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, I have everything ready to go. The body has all of the eyelets, the arms and legs are ready to go. So now let's put it all together. I'm gonna start with the legs. So the first thing I have here is the thigh, and I've opened up one side and I've left the other side closed. So I'm gonna put this side in, and all you need to do here is just close up that gap so it looks like that, okay? Then I'm going to take the bottom of that leg and do the same thing. Attach it and close up that gap. Okay, that easy. So we've got one leg. Now I'm going to move on to the next. Again, I've opened up the eyelet on these here. It's going to make it a lot easier so I'm not guessing later which side is the opening. Close the gap, put in the other one, and close the gap. Same for the arms. Okay, that's what it looks like so far. And when I attach the head, it's going to look like this. All right, so that's what it's going to look like. And we're going to make it so if you wanted to put it on something like that, you can do that, however you like to do it. So we've got the main part of the body done. Before we paint it, I'm going to draw out how I want the face to be, and then we'll paint it. I'm going to try to freehand a face on this before we paint it. So let me give it a shot here. All right, I think it's going to look something like that. I know it's not perfect, but it might do the trick. All right, before I move on, I'm going to actually glue this head on because as I was drawing the face, I noticed as this is spinning around, it makes it a little bit difficult for me. All right, I think I'm going to use these two colors for the paint. This will be the face, and then this will be the rest of the body. So let me get started. It's looking pretty good. Okay, since I painted over this face, I'm gonna have to redraw the whole face. So let me give this another try. I'm going to use this darker brown to color in that area, and then I'll use black for the nose. All right, it's looking pretty good, but I think I'm going to try and lighten up those little eye socket things. Okay, now I'm going to get the nose with some black. Not bad. I think I'm also going to get the mouth with the black. I got it with brown before, but I think it's going to need to be black. And then for these eyes here, I'm going to get them in black as well. So I'm going to use this real thin dowel, and I'm going to dip it in the black. And I'm going to try and just create a circle in the middle of this little eyeshadow part. That's not bad. Get the other side now. We're making some really good progress on this sloth. The last thing we have to do is gloss it, and then we are done. What do you think so far? Okay, we're all done. What do you think about that? Turned out really good. I like it. One more thing, if you liked what I did in this video, if you like crafting, please subscribe to my channel. I could really use the support. And also put a comment in the comments field. Let me know what you thought about this craft, and let me know what you want to see next. I really do enjoy crafting, and I could use your support. So please, like I said, subscribe to the channel, like the video, make a comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much.